Hi everyone, my name's Rhiannon from Blue Dog Board Games, and today we're going to do another solo playthrough. This time we're going to do a roll and write playthrough of the beautiful game Hadrian's Wall. So this is a game that can be played solo straight out of the box, but what we're going to be doing today is actually going to be playing game one of the solo campaign that has been made and designed by Garfield Games. It's just not included in the base game box. I don't know whether they will include it in any future printings, but they have designed it and popped all of the details on Board Game Geek. So what I'll do is I'll link that down below if you are not aware of that one or where to find that one. The solo straight out of the box is just a beat your own score variant, and it plays pretty much identically to the campaign games. The campaign just sort of builds a little bit of story and background into the forts that are built along Hadrian's Wall. It may give you some very slight setup changes, or it gives you a target score most of the time, or very slight setup changes, but other than that it plays identically. So if you're just interested in how Hadrian's Wall plays solo straight out of the box, you'll be able to get a very, very good idea from this playthrough as well. We're all set up ready to go, so we're just going to get going. So Hadrian's Wall is a very intimidating looking game when you first get it out on the table. It does all sort of make sense and come together when you know what is going on. You've got two separate sheets here. This one is the wall, so you've got the wall section at the top and the fort. You've got some tracks to build up here, you've got some buildings to build here, and along here you've got your citizen tracks, so you can start building up your relationships with various people, so like traders, performers. You've got your priests, your apparitors, and your patricians. And again, you've got some buildings that you can build over here by spending resources and workers and things like that. But if we have a look, first of all, at the solo campaign, I've printed it out. So the first one we're going to be doing is the eastern end of Hadrian's Wall. So fort number 1 we're going to be building up today. So it says that this one was called Segedunum. So Segedunum lay at the eastern end of Hadrian's Wall in Wallsend, near the banks of the River Tyne. Its name meant strong fort or victory fort. So we've got a couple of little things to read here. So we are only revealing one neutral prospect card each year rather than 2. So that's to do with these cards over the left-hand side here. Usually in a solo game we'd be revealing 2 to sort of simulate other players' cards and give us more options in the gameplay, but we're only going to be revealing 1. And our goal is to complete all wall sections and score 70 or more victory points. So our wall is this 4th track down. You won't be able to see it too well, but once I start writing it in, you'll be able to. So we've got to fill in all of this section here in order to win and score over 70 points. Now 70 is sometimes a bit of a challenge, I found. We'll see how it goes today. You also got a challenge. So the challenge is scoring 20 or more victory points in at least 3 attribute tracks. And if we manage to complete that challenge as well, we get a setup reward. So when we play fort number 2 next time, we would be able to get that little bonus towards that goal. But I think I'm on fort number 4 now, playing this like separately from playthroughs. And I've only managed to do like 1 challenge so far. So they're actually quite difficult. Hence they're called challenges. So the attribute tracks are these ones down here. You've got 4, you've got your renown, your piety, your valor, and your discipline. So you're just going to be trying to get those pushed as high as possible because they're going to be worth victory points at the end of the game. Okay, so let's get started with our setup. So first of all, we're going to be drawing one of these cards over here. And this just tells us what workers we're going to start with. I'm sorry if there's any glare, but there's not a lot I can do about that. So we're going to start with 2 black meeples, 2 blue meeples, 2 purple, and 1 yellow, and a stone. And then I'll put them over there. And then what we do is we reveal 2 of these. I am a yellow player, and this is our neutral deck. So on here we're just able to interact with this if we want to, so we can use this like scouting shape here, and we can also use the trading goods if we want to, but otherwise we ignore it. So of these 2 cards, I need to select which one I want to be my victory scoring condition. So I've got 2 cards here. One of them has completed wall guard sections, Now, as I'm already trying to push up the wall, that could be good. We could be really focusing heavily on this side. Or total gladiator strength. Now, the gladiators are over this side. If we have 12 gladiator strength at the end of the game, we get 3 victory points. But honestly, I'm not sure we're going to be wanting to focus on gladiators this game. Alright, so I think I'm going to be trying to score for completed wall guard sections. So that means I'm going to slot this card under year 1. We are playing in 6 years. After the end of 6 years, we are totaling our score. And so this just demonstrates that we're on the first year. We then put this one to the side, but we gain the resources that are at the bottom. So I gain an extra purple worker and an extra stone. We then have to obtain all of our resources that we have started to generate along different tracks. So what we're going to do is have a look down here. We've got a resource production track down here, which allows us to generate stone. We've only got 1 ticked off at the moment. We start with 1, so we're going to grab another stone. And then down here we may gain extra workers or extra things to push up our tracks down here. I would gain yellow workers from this section, but I haven't ticked off anything, so we're just going to ignore that for now, and we'll hopefully get some later in the game. So now we can start spending our resources and workers to try and push up anywhere on any tracks to just get going. So I'm looking down here. What happens in this fort area is before we can even start building up our wall, which is our criteria for this particular scenario, we have to actually build our fort area. So we're not really going to be wanting to build our wall up when we're not even protecting any fort. So you are sort of restricted as to how far you can push your wall and your sippy, which is like a bit of a barrier. It looks like it's the wooden type spike barrier that they can build. You're sort of restricted as to how far you can progress along those tracks until you've built further with your fort. So I think, all honesty, we might be looking at pushing up our fort as quick as possible. But then I want to generate more workers as when I can, as quick as possible. So let's, I think in the first instance, let's spend a blue worker to push up our first track on the fort. Now, these little icons down the side, they sort of show you who you can spend or what resources are needed to push up that track. So for the fort, I need either a blue or a black worker. So I'm going to use my blue person to push up 1. The blacks are really valuable. They're a lot more useful than the blue. The blue tend to be just like general builders. The blacks can be like builders or soldiers. So the blacks can be used to guard out here. Or we can like train our blue workers down here to become black workers. Okay, I think then we want to start progressing along our wall as well, potentially. Or shall I focus on getting a small hotel? Because if I get the hotel down here, which needs a purple and a blue worker and a stone, I can start generating extra workers for the next round onwards. You know what, first of all, I'm going to actually spend my 2 purples to come along this mining and foresting track. So we get the first box here and the second one. Now the second one gives us a hammer and a rock. The hammer allows us to take an extra resource production down here. So we're going to be generating more rocks in a minute, which is really nice. We need to start spending our rocks. So first of all, I think, spend a rock to push up along our wall track, which gives us a yellow worker. There's so much back and forth in this game. There's so many like combo triggering things. It's really fun. Then I think we're going to start with our wall guard. So I'm going to spend a black meeple up here to start ticking off our cohorts, because our cohorts are going to be our defense against attacks at the end of every single year. there is an attack and we have to try and defend our fort. Now the campaign suggests to play it on medium difficulty because that's how it's been designed, so we are going to be doing it on medium today. So up here it sort of tells you how many cards you're going to be drawing according to your difficulty that you selected, as well as what your target defense is, or how many. It's like a sort of marker, so you can sort of work out how much valor you're going to be gaining according to whether you've blocked or not blocked your attacks. But we'll have a look at that as and when we get to it. I've got a bit of a surplus of brick and yellow workers now. I think I ideally wanted to try and push up a little bit more in the hotel, perhaps. In which case I need an extra blue worker. Because I could use my black and blue there, but then I'd need a blue worker. I think I could do that. So if I use a yellow person over here on my performers track, that's going to give me a blue person. And then what I could do is, I literally just said, okay, what we're going to do, first of all, we're going to spend our black worker up here to tick off this cohort like I just explained. Now, when you tick off a cohort, you can choose to either defend the left side, the center, or the right side. All the bonuses that you get are the same, and the attacks when you draw the cards are going to be coming at any of those sides, so you just need to be aware of that. I'm just going to go down the center and hope for the best. I think then I'm going to spend this yellow worker to come down here to get a blue person. I'm then going to spend 2 blue people to push up twice on my fort track. And now I'm at level 2 on my fort, which allows me to build a small hotel. And that will allow me in turn to generate an extra yellow person per year. And the yellow people can be used to push up generally along these tracks with the citizens. And they're quite good at giving like extra bonuses. So I think I won't do that. So that's a purple and a blue person and 1 rock. And that immediately actually gives me a yellow person back. Okay, so we've still got some rocks left. I'm going to spend the 2 rocks to start building up my wall. So that's 2 spaces along my wall, and that triggers another yellow person. We're now at the maximum part of the wall because we haven't extended our fort any further. So we cannot go any further along that track. So I've got 2 yellow people that I need to spend, and they can be spent over here. I could get a rock, which I could use to build the first place of the sippy. Or I could get 2 purple meeples. That could be better. Maybe I'll do that. So I'm going to spend my 2 yellows to push up the first space of the trader's track, which gives me a purple, and the first space of the priest's track, which gives me another purple, and then finally I'm going to spend those 2 purples to come up 2 spaces on my mining and foresting. So our fort is sort of split into the left, middle and right sections, so we have only extended a little bit up to the left. If you wanted to extend further this way now, I need to actually, because it's increasing so much in size, I need to build the medium granary. So I cannot build or have any more mining and foresting actions now, because I cannot extend beyond this like faint line that you may be able to see. So if I wanted to extend my fort now beyond this as well, as long as I've got this medium granary, I can do, but I don't have it at the moment. It requires a purple and a blue and a rock. So I will be having to do that very soon. So that is the end of the first year. What happens now is we are going to be, for medium difficulty, drawing 1 card. And then we're going to be comparing its attack to wherever we're defending. We're only defending once in the center at the moment. And if we block it, great, we get some valor. If we don't block it, we have to take some disdain. So let's draw a card and see where they're attacking. Oh dear, so they're attacking on the left-hand side. So let's discard that one. We then take a disdain according to the number of tacks we've let through. So when we take disdain, we have to circle it, and if we're able to offset that a little bit, if we start bribing, if we build the baths and start bribing officials, we can start offsetting that. And then disdain is going to be worth negative points at the end of the game. So that's not great. Not a great start. But still, we live for another day. So now we are in the second year. So we're again going to be drawing this card to see what bits and pieces we're going to be starting with. So we're going to be starting with 2 black, 1 blue, 2 purple and 2 yellow. So that's a bit annoying because I wanted more blue workers really, because they're going to be really useful for building this fort up. We then draw 1 of these and 2 from our pile. So we've got large buildings as a scoring criteria, or filled temples. So the filled temples could potentially be good. That's along the priest's area. So we could be building temples, and then we can donate basically any spare worker of any colour to start filling up the temples, and they give us cohorts and a bit of piety. So that could be good because we don't necessarily... But then I'm thinking, our purple workers are used to push up the mining track, which is going to give us extra stone production and extra stone in general. And we need stone to push up our wall. So we're not going to be doing that. We're going to be ignoring that. We're going to be focusing on getting large buildings. And large buildings are literally, as it says, it may say large granary. There's another one, large road, large workshop, large hotel. There's nothing more. There's some over here, large gardens, large temple. If you build them, they're counted. But it's quite funny in this game because you need a certain amount built. So if you've built 1, you gain nothing. It says 2, you get 1 victory point. 4, you get 2 victory points. So if you've actually built 3, from my understanding, you don't score. You have to build either 2, 4, or 6 large buildings to score. So it's just something to sort of think about. So that one goes over here. We're gaining 2 purple workers. These are very cleverly balanced as well, because I don't want purple right now. I actually want the blue and the stone that's on that scoring criteria. So they always try and put the useful workers and materials on the scoring criteria that you're keeping for scoring. We then have a look at what else we're gaining. So we're now gaining 2 stone from our resource production and an extra yellow worker. And then we can carry on. So in all honesty, before we even think about doing anything else, I think I want to try and get this medium granary. Some of these buildings have criteria on them, so the medium granary requires me to have at least built my fort to level 1, and level 1's all the way down here, so that's absolutely fine. So I'm going to just go ahead and do that because my mining foresting area is full up, and I'm just going to be wasting purple workers if I don't manage to push beyond that. So that requires my only blue worker and a blue and a stone. So we've now built that granary, which means we can now build all the way up to here. So let's have a look at the tracks then. So I need to generate blue workers. How can I generate more blue workers? This is quite a nice track, but it's going to take me a while to get up to the point where I'm generating blue workers. The trader could be good. And that can actually help me with my resource production as well. So yes, I'm going to spend 2 yellow workers to push up twice on the trader's track. This gets me a blue worker. Now I'm just having a look as well, because now I'm at level 3 on the trader's track. That could allow me to build the small precinct using a purple and a yellow, which will help me get a stone, an extra hammer for my resource production, and a piety. So let's do that, I think. So that's a purple and a yellow. So that's going to give me 1 piety, an extra resource, and a stone. Yeah, I think that's okay. And then with my blue worker, what did I want to do with my blue worker? He's very valuable. I'm just going to, I think, straight away build up my fort, which is going to give me a yellow person. Now I'm going to donate a brick to this wall, which is now here. That's going to give me 1 renown. And it gives me an extra cohort. Now, I think I'm going to start spreading out my cohorts. We're going to be getting 2 attacks this turn, but I'm just going to spread them out. We're going to go to the left-hand side, I think. Now, I'm getting a little bit worried about these attacks. I don't want to take any more damage, I don't think. So I don't know whether to go to the diplomat down here, and that's going to give us some cohorts that we can use. We can sometimes have temporary ones. So the diplomat, if we pay him, we can get a little bit of valor, and we get 2 temporary cohorts that we can use, and we have to assign them to a direction. So I could assign them to the right hand side, and then that gives me 2 attacks on my right hand side that I can just use as the temporary cohort to offset that attack. And that could be really nice, because that could mean I could potentially block all of that this turn, unless of course they do double in the center or something. All right, first instance, my purple person's going to push up here, which is going to give me a stone and a hammer. And then I really want to have a look at this one, the small workshop, because this is going to give me extra blue people. But what I would need is 3 stone, which I've got. Let's do that. So unfortunately, I am going to have to use one of my valuable black workers to push up 1 space on the fort, because this small workshop requires me to be at least level 3 in the fort, and now I've reached level 3. To build this small workshop, I need 3 stone, which I have. I can now tick that off, and it immediately gives me a blue worker, which is amazing. And each year now I'm going to be producing this blue worker alongside my yellow worker, so that could be really useful. This black person then I'm going to use on the wall guard up here. He's very helpful to give me this discipline, and next time I can push up and get an extra cohort. All right, let's just continue climbing. Blue person's going to continue building the fort, which will give me a yellow. And now I've got 2 yellows. In all honesty, I'm going to use these 2 yellows to push up on our apparatus track, which is going to give me a black worker. And I'm going to, or a soldier, I'm going to use my soldier up here to get me an extra cohort, which means I can put that on the right hand side. I'm blocking once on the left, right and middle. So hopefully if they'll spread out their attacks. We won't have to take any more disdain. And then my final purple person, I'm just going to tick off another one on the mining, which doesn't give us anything, but that's fine. Good. It's always funny in this. It's so fun just to like take everything off, and I never quite know how I'm doing. It really sort of builds up towards the end, much like every game, but it's a really, it always sort of leaves you feeling a little confused as to how well you're doing, I would say. Okay, so now we're going to be attacked twice, so let's draw these and see where they're coming from. So we've got a left-hand side. Oh, there's 2 left-hand side attacks. That's really rubbish. So what happens now is we take a disdain for every attack that got through. So we had 1 attack that got through, so we have to circle another disdain. And now we did block 1 attack. So what we do is we have a look at this number in the grey. We've got a 2, and we use that number to work out the difference between how many attacks we blocked. So 2 minus 1 is 1, so we gain 1 valor. That's really rubbish. That was so unfortunate. We're now being attacked 4 times next round, so I think we're just going to have to somehow find some more cohorts. And it might be the case that we need to talk to our diplomat friends over here. Okay, so year 3. So let's draw this one. Wish I could have had that card a minute ago. So yeah, at least we've got 2 blue workers now. you need to be working on the fort. 2 purple and a yellow and 2 stone. Now let's draw you and grab 2 of you. So these ones completed citizen tracks. So this is this side down here where our traders, performers, etc. So that could be good. I do quite like the citizen tracks because they tend to give you a lot of bonuses. Like this one now, every single time I tick something off, I'm going to get bonuses, and I also get blue workers, so that's really good. And this architect has constructed landmarks. Landmarks are here. So these only tend to be built towards the end of the game because they require you to pass a certain point on your tracks down here. So you need to reach at least level 15 in Renown, Piety, Valor or Discipline before you can build them. And then you need blue people and stone to build them, but they also help you to push up in any other track that you're lacking in. But I think it's just way too early to tell whether I'm going to get anywhere near that. So I'm going to go for the completed citizen tracks as a scoring criteria. Pop you over here. I want the 2 stone. I think that's more useful to us anyway, quite frankly. And then we gain 4 stone down here now. Quite racking up in our quarry. And a yellow person from our hotel and a blue person from our workshop. So it'd be really nice to try and get some more. I really like this large workshop because that will give us an extra blue person on top and also start climbing our renown track. But I need to be at least level 7 on my fort, and that's all the way up here. So that's just beyond what we're capable of right now. It'll also start ticking off at some large buildings, which will be really nice. So I think I need to start focusing on the wall guard sections, citizen tracks, and just finishing this wall and fort, essentially. So let's just start climbing, I think. Let's spend a blue to push further up our fort. He's going to give us a discipline. I think we may do it again. You know what, we're going to actually spend a stone to build some more of our wall, which is going to give us a yellow person. I'm going to spend this yellow person immediately on the track down here to give us discipline, which is in turn going to give us a blue person. I want some more black soldiers as well, which is down here on the patricians track, because I really want to start pushing up this wall guard section. I can train the blue workers to do that. I wonder if that's better. I need some cohorts to block these attacks. Okay, we're going to worry about that in a minute. We're going to spend 2 stone to build 2 extra sections of our wall, which gives us an extra cohort. We're going to stick that on the left hand side. We're then going to spend an extra 3 stone to build up our sippy, which gives us an extra cohort. And we're going to stick that. Where should we stick that? We're going to spread them out, I think. We're going to go to the center. And then I will spend a blue to push up this fort, which will give us a yellow person. Now, what do I want to do with my yellow people? I'm going to spend a yellow to push up the apparatus track to get me a blue person back. And then I'm going to do it twice more. Yellow people, that's going to give me a discipline. And again, I'm on level 7, and that's going to give me a soldier, which is amazing. I'm going to use both soldiers on the wall guard section to get me an extra discipline. We're very disciplined. And then I think I'm going to spend, I'm not sure, I'm looking at the small road, which means we would spend 2 purple and a blue. We would need to spend an extra blue to get our fort up to level 4 and a stone. And that's going to give us immediate bonuses down here. and a bonus every year. But I don't really want to be building small buildings now. Maybe I'll focus on these larger buildings because small buildings aren't gonna score me points. I don't have any incentive right now I do need 70 points at the end of the game from these tracks and stuff, so. All right, we're going to spend a blue person to push up to level 4 in our fort. We're then going to spend 2 purples and a blue person and a rock to get our small road. So this is going to give us an immediate piety or discipline. So I'm going to go towards the discipline because that's going to trigger an extra blue worker. I'm then going to actually train this blue worker. So you can only train a maximum of 1 a year. So what you have to do is write the round number in here. So we're on year 3 and we are now essentially trading him for a black worker, and I'm going to pop him up here onto the wall guard to get me an extra cohort. And we're going to stick that onto the right hand side and again hope and hope and hope that the attacks are spread out. But they won't be. We can hope. Okay, so we're going to just stick our blue worker and pop him along the fort, which gives us a yellow. We've got a yellow and a stone. Anything that we want to do with this. Yeah, I'm going to use my yellow person to start climbing along the patrician's track to get me a stone. I'm going to trade these 2 stones for what? What do I want? What do I want? I'm going to do these 2 stones to do 1 along the wall to get me a renown. And I don't know whether to go for the sippy or the wall. We're going to go for the wall, which is going to give me a yellow person. What do I want to do with my yellow person? Maybe we're gonna put him towards the traders because it would be nice to get the medium precinct soon, which is going to give me some more discipline and allow us to get another hammer and stone, I think. And that's the end of year 3. Oh, I really hope these attacks are really spread out. They won't be though, will they? So we're actually drawing 4. Oh no. Okay, blocked in the middle, blocked in the middle, blocked on the left. Oh, for God's sake, we got another middle. This is really bad. This is really bad. So this might not be a positive outcome, but we'll see. So we have blocked 3 attacks out of 4. So we have an extra disdain because we let 1 through. So that number is 2. So we are comparing 2 to 1 that got through. So we gain 1 valor. It would be so good to climb up this valor track because the more valor you're getting, the more black workers you're getting. And so it's just, that was just atrocious. Not a good start. And we're getting 6 attacks next round. Oh no. Oh well. We'll see if we live another day. So let's set up for the next round. Good, at least we're getting some blue workers. Ideally, I'd like some more blacks, but we'll see. At least we can train the blues. 2 yellows and a stone. We haven't interacted with this at all. I'm not sure if we're going to in this particular game. So we have got completed cohorts over here and completed scout columns. We're not even looking at the scout columns. The scout columns are over here. You need to send out black workers to act as scouts and they complete columns. This is where all the shapes come in. So when you send them out, you can sort of draw any of the shapes that are available and they may give you purple workers or stone. But I'm going to completely ignore that because we are not doing anything with scout columns. And that's quite nice because then I get an extra black person there. So we're going to go for completed cohorts. And we're not really looking good at that either. But we'll see. So now we gain our resource production. So we gain 4 stone, 2, 3, 4, and we gain an extra yellow and a blue. Starting to build everything up quite a lot now. And now we can choose whether we are going to be gaining whatever we want. So we can gain some renown, we can gain piety, we can gain valor, or we can gain 1 discipline. So what do I want? The valor would get me a black meeple, which could be really good. But the renown could get me a yellow, and that could be good too. They could all be really good. We're going to go for the black, I think. So we're going to actually get some valor, which will get me the black meeple. Right. So what do we need? We need completed wall guard sections. So we've got 1 at the moment. Haven't got any large buildings yet, so maybe we can look at doing a couple of those. Completed citizen tracks, we're nearly at the first. Completed cohorts, we need to build up our cohorts. For anything else, just to stop us getting more disdain, because at the moment we're now minusing 5 points from the end of the game. There is a scoring criteria which offsets that, so you score points according to how many disdain you've got. I think you can score, I think it's like, or maybe it's 2, 4, and 6 again. I don't know. So I'm sort of hoping to sort of keep that one so I don't have to offset this disdain, because it's expensive to buy these baths and then try and bribe to get rid of that disdain. It's just expensive. So I think I may ignore that. I also need to start thinking about this large granary, because we're nearly there. I might do that now, actually, before I worry anymore. I'm going to do that now. I need to be at level 5, so that's actually going to cost me a blue person to get me to level 5. Yeah, and then before we worry anymore, we just have to make sure we don't get stuck and not able to push beyond where we are. So that allows me to build this, which in turn gives me a renown, and that gives me a yellow person. So that's great. So that's our first large building, and it also allows us to build all the way to the end of the fort. Because I just didn't want to, sometimes there have been a few games where I've got excess number of workers and there's literally nothing I can do with them. And you don't have to spend every worker, the game still just goes on, but you just lose them, and so it's such a waste. So I just want to always make sure that I'm planning ahead, and I've only got 3 spaces here to push up. Before that would have been a problem, but all right. I think we need to get some cohorts. And where do we want to get those cohorts from? It's looking quite cohort heavy up here. So if we actually, we're going to donate this blue worker to this fort space to get a yellow. I'm going to spend these 2 rocks to build further up the wall. And this is going to give me 1 renown and 1 cohort. And we're going to go to the left hand side, and that's going to give me a discipline. I need to start spending some of these yellows. So I'm eyeing up this medium precinct because I'd quite like to get the large precinct, I think. So I'm going to spend a purple. Nope, sorry, I need level 6. So I'm going to spend 2 yellow workers to get myself to level 6 in the trader's trap. That actually gives me a stone. And then I'm going to spend my purple person and 2 yellows to build this medium precinct. That allows me to take up an extra 1 in discipline, an extra resource production, and I get a stone. And then we can look to soon build the large precinct, and that'll be our second large building, which will be really nice. And hopefully we can actually, I will need to be at the top of this track at that point. Whilst we're here, I'm going to spend that yellow worker to push up on this apparatus track, and that's going to give me a discipline. In turn, that's going to give me a blue person. All right, we're just gonna go up the fort even more. We're gonna spend 2 stone to push up in the sippy twice, which is gonna give us a yellow person and a cohort. That's gonna give us an extra discipline. So now we're 3, 3, and 2. So we wanted an extra cohort on the right-hand side, really. That would have been really nice. So I could actually get one by using a black meeple on the fort. But I don't know if that's worth it. I think it's better to put them towards the wall guard section, because that's at least going to give us some more victory points. I'm going to spend all 3 of my black workers to go up here. I get an extra discipline and an extra cohort. That's going to allow me to tick off the 3rd cohort on the right hand side, and that gives me some more discipline, and I've got a blue worker from that as well. All right, that's good. I'm going to then spend this blue person then to come along here. I've got some even more discipline and another cohort. Let's go down the middle. Let's go down the middle, and then a yellow person. What do I want with my yellow? I could get blue person here, could get blue person here. I'm not trying to push up this track for any particular reason other than to get the completed citizen track. This one I do want to push up further though, because I want to build this large precinct. The others we've sort of neglected. This whole second sheet we've really neglected this game. But you know, like the campaign is sort of designed so you can explore various aspects of the game. You can't do everything. And so I usually actually focus on the gardens, because the gardens allow you to push up in every one of those citizen tracks, which is amazing. But I just haven't needed like many purple people, and this priest's track gives you lots of purple people. And there's one of the Fort 3 that needs you to complete all 5 citizen tracks and earn 70 or more points. And it's actually really quite difficult to get yourself to the top of all of those tracks. But that each fort allows you to sort of explore a different section of the game. So it is really good to play through that campaign, because this game can sort of feel not necessarily repetitive, but you can really feel like you adopt a strategy and you always just stick with it. Right, my yellow person, what do I want to do with you? I'm going to pop you over here then to the traders track, because then we can start pushing up, which gives me a blue person. I wonder if I should train him. Shall I train him? I'm going to train him, you know. We're in year 4. I'm going to train him to be a soldier to help along the wall guard. And we've got 1 more stone. I don't have any choice really what to do with that, because I haven't pushed up further, so I can't push the sippy along any further. So we're just going to pop that along the wall. Okay. And we're now being attacked for 6. So let's just hope, cross our fingers, that we can block these. So we've got a left hand side, we block that. Right hand side, we block that. Left hand side, we block that. Right hand side, we block that. Middle and a middle. Yes, we have blocked them all. 4 years of being attacked, we've finally learned our lesson. And so we don't have to take any disdain. We take the number of valor according to the number in the grey. So we gain 3 from that, which is fantastic, because that gives us a soldier. Fabulous. Okay, and then we're in year 5. We've got 2 soldiers. We're still neglecting the blue, but that's okay. I don't need to get to the end of the fort, do I? Do I need to? No, I need all wall sections. So we're getting there with our wall. So maybe I should actually focus on that quite quickly. I don't want to be caught short. And 2 stone. You come out, completed scout columns, and then these 2. Final disdain, here we go. So funnily enough, if we have 4, 2 or 0 disdain, we gain victory points. I've got 3. So that's probably not going to help us. The other one is collected goods, and the goods are to do with the market up in this corner here. We haven't built the market, and I don't think we're going to be focusing on that now because it's gonna cost us stone. We're gonna need this stone to push up our wall, which is what our goal is right now. So I am going to, just in case, go for the final disdain. Completed goods, that gives us a yellow worker and a stone. We are now generating 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stone from our resource production. And a yellow and a blue. And then we can choose what track we want to push up. Honestly, I think I'm just going to go for disdain because the benefits start to get closer and closer together, and that's going to give us blue workers. Blue workers are going to help us push up here. I can train them to be soldiers, which in turn will help us push up our wall guard, and that will give us more victory points. So we're going to go for discipline. Also, I've got it half in my mind that I could build a landmark in a minute. So I'm at level 14 out of 15 in discipline track. So if I got to the 15, I could spend a blue worker and 2 stone to push up twice in the renown track. So they just all sort of bounce off each other and allow you to push up more. So in all honesty, I need to build my fort more and I need to focus on this wall. So before I think about it anymore, I'm going to push my fort even further, which gets me a yellow worker. I've got so many yellow workers. I'm then going to push my wall up as far as I can, so I can push it up 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces by spending 4 stone. That gives me a yellow worker, not down there. And that gives me a cohort. I'm going to spread them out. We're going to go to the left. That gives me a renown. And that gives me another yellow worker. So we've got loads of yellows. Loads and loads and loads and loads of yellows. Let's spend some of these yellows then before we decide what we want to do with the rest. I will spend 2 of them to push up to the very top of this trader's track. That allows me to get a renown, so I get a yellow worker back, and a stone from the very final space. Finally, then I want to build this large precinct, so that's my purple and 3 yellow workers to push up on renown. I get an extra stone on my resource production, and I get a stone right now. Okay, I think I then also want to spend this yellow to get a blue worker from reaching the top of this track. See, now we're at a point where I have only got 1 blue worker. I don't have much to spend this stone on. So I'm wondering, should I look to be building something right now? Maybe. What can I use this stone for? I wonder actually. I could spend, I'm going to do this. I could spend 4 stone to build this large workshop, which means I do next round want to make sure I build another large building of some form, because I've got the large granary, I've got the large precinct, and then I'll have the large workshop. I need 4, not 3, I need 4 buildings to score 2 points at the end of the game. So I am going to do that. So I'm going to spend all 4 stone, because otherwise it's going to go to waste, to build this large workshop, which gives me an immediate renown and a blue person, which is actually really useful because I am going to just push up further in the fort now. which gives me a yellow. What track would be more useful now? This could give me purples and piety. We're not looking at piety really. This would be better. So I'm going to spend 2 yellows to push up on the patricians track, which gives me a black meeple. Shall I do that again? Yeah, yellow to push up to level 4, which gives me a piety, not piety, a renown. And that gives me a yellow person back. I don't think I want stone. How much stone do I have? I could build the sippy. Here we go. I'm going to use these 2 stone to build our wall out. That next one's going to give me 1 renown and a cohort. Now, this gets to a tricky situation because do I put it to the right hand side and we've got 4 defense on each side, or do I dedicate it to the left and right, and that's going to allow me to push up further in the valor, but I'm leaving the right side exposed a bit. I'm going to chance it. We're going to go to the left hand side, get some valor, because if I can complete a cohort, I'm going to get some victory points at the end of the game. That's what I'm going to do. Yellow, yellow, yellow. What do I want to do? A yellow person. Let's do the blacks first. I'm going to spend 2 to do this discipline. That gets me a blue, and then I've got an extra cohort. What do I want to do with that? I don't know. I think we're going to go for the middle now, which is going to push up our valor. I don't think I want to use this blue to push up here. We've only got 3 spaces left to push up on our fort. I wonder, we're probably going to generate some more blues. Funnily enough, if I had the stone now, what I could do is build this statue, because we're at level 15 on our discipline now. I could get 1 stone. You know what, I could actually scout, because I'm at level 2 on the scout at the patrician's track. I could use one of my black meeples to scout. Do I have a shape that I could use? When you use these, because this is not my player colour, this is like a neutral stack. If I wanted to use this for the shape, this straight section, any materials that I would be like paying essentially. So I would be using a black meeple to do this action. I would put it on this card, and every component resource meeple on the cards will increase your attacks. So that's no good. That's not really very good at all, because I'm being attacked for 8 next round. Maybe it's worth it though. Should we try it? Should we try it? I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. So I'm going to use my black meeple over there to start a scout. And I'm going to use their shape to draw that shape on here. And that in turn gives me 2 stone. I'm going to use this stone immediately with my blue worker to build a statue as a landmark. And that in turn gives me 2 renown, which gives me a yellow meeple. Is there any way I can generate valor? I'm just thinking then I could get an extra black meeple over here. Probably not. Let's not worry about that. I need an extra large building of some sort. What do we want to actually look at? When you're sort of doing them from over here, you have to build from small to large. So I couldn't just go straight over here and build the large temple. I have to have completed the small and medium ones first. So in all honesty, the only large buildings that I'll probably be able to do, I think, are the large road and the large hotel. And I can't look to do that now. I haven't got the right people to do it with. So I think we're just going to donate these guys to the patricians track. That's going to give me a stone and a renown. This stone I will put straight away to the sippy, which gives me an extra renown. And my black maple is going to come to the wall guard. I think that's sensible. We're now being attacked. So we're being attacked for 8, but because I've used the neutral pile over here for the shape, I'm actually being attacked for 9. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is insane. Okay. So, got a left-hand side blocked, left blocked, middle blocked, right blocked, middle blocked, right blocked. We got, I think we've done it. Middle blocked, right just blocked, and we got another middle. We've done it. We've done it. This is where it's all right, and I've only got 3. I've been neglecting the right-hand side. So that's really good. We blocked it all. So we actually get 3 valor for that. That's fabulous. And we've got our black meeple for that. And then we're in year 6, so we're on the final round. So remember, we need to complete all wall sections. We are only 3 spaces off of that. So we're really nearly there. And then the final scoring, as long as we've met that criterion, we got over 70 points in total, we've won. But I'm a little bit worried about my total points. I don't know whether I will quite get the 70, but we'll see. We need fourth large building. Yeah, 4th large building. Try and complete another citizen track. Funnily enough though, I'm just thinking we don't actually want to complete the citizen track because, again, if you complete 2, 4 or 5 tracks, you get points. So I've completed 2 at the moment. I don't want to complete 3. But that's easy to sort of manage. You can just put the yellow person to the other track. That's fine. And a stone. Good. Next one of you. And final ones. So resource production or completed wall sections. We're going to definitely go for the completed wall sections because that is our whole scoring criteria of the game. I always try and put it over that. So we get a purple and a rock. Come on, where are you? And then we're gaining 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stone. That's so many. I don't know what to do with it all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh. And a yellow worker. And 2 blue workers. See, I've got too many blue workers now. And then I can push up in a track of my choice. What do I want to push up in? If I push up in Renown, I'm at level 15 in Renown, which would allow me, in turn, to build an archway to push up in Valor. I think I'm going to do that, you know. What am I doing? I'm just ticking up in the Renown. And that gives me a yellow worker. Okay, before I forget then, I will spend 1 blue and 2 rocks to build this archway, which is nice. So I get 2 valor for that. So I've got a black worker. We're nearly there with the valor as well then. Let's think about what else we're going to score for. So completed wall guard sections, we should be able to reach the end of that track. That would be really good. Large buildings, we need to ensure. You know what? Let's do that step by step then. So I'm going to actually spend all 4 of these blacks on the wall guard. So that's going to give me a discipline, this is going to give me a cohort. I'm going to go for a discipline. That's going to give me a valor. 3, 4, and I've got another discipline. I'm going to train this blue to become a soldier, which can then therefore complete the wall guard section. And that, I think I will use, I'm going to go for the right cohort, just in case. I'm a bit worried. Yeah, okay, good. So we've done completed wall guard sections. We need to look at a large building, completed citizen tracks. I think we may stay at the 2 tracks completed now. I think so. Completed cohorts, we've got 1 we should be able to complete. I've got 3 here that I could tick off. Final disdain we're not doing great at, so that's no good. And completed wall sections. So I don't think we're doing too bad. So let's spend, oh, I don't know. I'm a bit lacking in blue people. I've used all my blue people, that's why. Is there anywhere that I could get more blue people from? At any point in the game, you are able to spend 2 workers of any colour to create a worker of any colour, bar the black meeples, because they're really powerful. So I could spend like 2 yellows or 1 yellow and 1 purple to create a blue. You can only do it once a year. I'm not sure I want to do that though. You know what? I'm going to spend this yellow worker on the patricians track down here, which is going to give me a black meeple. I'm going to use the black to actually help out on the fort, I believe. And then what large building am I going to go for? I think I might just go for, oh, it's the same price. We're going to go for the large road. So 2 purple, 1 blue, and 2 stone. Good. And that can allow me to tick up on a track either the valor or the renown. We're going to go for valor because then I've got an extra black. I can now finish this section, which will be fabulous. So I think we're going to spend the black and the blue to finish our fort. That's going to give me a yellow. That's going to give me a discipline, which will give me a blue and a cohort. We're going to complete one. So we're going to go for an extra discipline. Then I need to finish my wall, so let's not faff about anymore. We're going to spend 3 stone to finish our wall, which means we have met our scoring section, our goal. I don't know about the score. Cohort, I've got a cohort, so we're going to pop that to the right hand side. That's going to give us a valor. Okay, so we're happy there. Whilst we're here then, let's have a look. So we've reached level 15 on our valor. If I could get another stone somewhere, I don't think I really can. I can by ticking up 2 spaces on here, but then that would have been my 3rd citizen track that I would have completed, which would mean essentially it's only going to -1 point at the end of the game because at the moment I'm scoring 1 for my 2 completed tracks. That's still worth it because every space along here is worth a victory point. So I think ultimately let's just spend, I don't think building anything now is really going to benefit me. I'm going to spend that on the very last sippy space, which allows me to finish all of my cohorts. That gives me an extra discipline, which allows me to tick off a piety. And then I'm just going to run with these yellows. I don't want to tick off more along here, I don't think. Or I could go one space. Yeah, let's do that. So I'm going to spend 1 to get an extra renown. And then I think we're just going to donate them here. At least then I can get some piety. So if I do 1, 2, 3, I get a purple worker and piety. Ah, that means I get another purple worker. So I've got 2 purple workers and 2 blues. If I had more stone, I could look to build baths and offset this disdain a bit, but it's just not worth it now. So I can't get any more black workers, I don't think. Blues are a bit of a waste unless I'm building something. Yellows are only going to give me purple workers, and I don't want any more purples, I don't think. So ultimately, I think we're sort of done, and nothing we're going to be doing is going to be helping us anymore. So all we're going to be doing then is spending these 2 purples to get a hammer. Ooh. Oh no, I was just thinking the resource production, we didn't select that one because that is to do with this track. Did I want to tick off further along there? But that's fine. I do have a stone. I don't think I can do anything with the stone. Nothing requires 1 blue worker and a stone. If I could get another stone, I could have built the column, but then that would have meant I ticked up there. I don't think I wanted to do that. So let's just, I'm not really sure what I'm doing now. So I can't use you 2. So I'm going to trade you in for a yellow for fun. And then I'll use the yellow to tick off 1 in the priest's track, which will give me a purple. And then I'll use the purple, tick off more in the mining track. And we have a leftover stone. We cannot do anything with this stone, but that's fine. So let's do a moment of truth. We are being attacked for 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And let's see if we block it all. So we blocked that, and that one, and that one, and that one. Good, these are all nice and spread out. Good. We have completely blocked everything. These really need a good shuffle. So we gain 4 valor. This bonuses again, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. We actually get a black meeple, but they're pointless now. And then we just proceed to final scoring. So let's see how this goes. So base final scoring, you just follow this column down here. So your base scoring is just what you reach on each of these pathways. I might go and get a calculator actually. Yeah, bear with me. Okay, so we have reached space 16 on the renown. We've reached 3 on the piety, 20 on the valor, and 22 on the discipline track. We then have a look at path cards. So these are all of these up here. So completed wall guard sections, we've completed all 3, so we gain 3 victory points. Large buildings, so we have got the large granary, large workshop, large road. The road is counted as a building. And did we not have another one? Yeah, large precinct. So, damn it, I thought I'd counted them. So that's 2 victory points. We're on 5 completed citizen tracks. We've got 2 of them. So that's 6 cohorts, all of them. So 9 points. Disdain. We don't gain anything because we've got 3 disdain. And wall sections. So we've got all of them. So that's another 3 victory points. So 12 from the path cards. Disdain final tally. So down here it shows you if you've gained a certain number of disdain, you have to minus a certain number of points. So for 3 disdain, I have to minus 5 points. So let's have a look what that is. Oh, that was close. So we've managed to get 73 total points, which is perfect because our fort goal was to complete all wall sections, which we have done. That was this track here, and complete the game with 70 or more victory points. So we've only just beat that by 3, but we have done it. And our challenge was to score 20 or more victory points in at least 3 attribute tracks. We have only managed to get it in 2, so we do not have this setup reward, which would be a yellow worker and a stone when we start the game in the next fort. But that's fine. We have managed to win the first fort challenge, and what you do is just play through the campaign, and each of the little goals are different each time, and your victory points may change slightly. Yeah, so fort 4 is only 65 victory points, but a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed this playthrough, and I'll be back in a moment just to discuss my final thoughts on Hadrian's Wall. So just sharing some final thoughts on Hadrian's Wall. I have to be honest and say that I absolutely love this game so much. It's probably, I think, my favourite roll and write game. And for the sole reason, like, the theme does not a lot for me. I think the sole reason is how much there is going on, how many pathways you can take, and how fun it is to trigger all those combinations and seeing, like, elongating those turns and eking out as much as possible each and every turn from every resource, from every meeple you get. And it's just so satisfying to, like, pay your workers and then take more out. Brilliant. I absolutely love it. So the sole reason that I did purchase this game was because people said that it was a really fun one from a solo gaming perspective. The theme isn't particularly exciting to me. I don't really know anything about Hadrian's Wall or like that sort of history or that time period. It's not something that I'm that interested in. And aesthetically as well, it's very muted. The artwork is fine. It all looks pretty good. It's nice to look at, but I wouldn't say that everything is beautiful to look at, and it's not the most visually pleasing game on the table. Everything is absolutely fine. Like, all the components are very nice, nicely produced. The booklets are amazing. You've got like 2 huge wads of booklets to go through, so you don't have to worry about running out of any of your roll and write sheets. And all the components are wooden, and the cardstock's really nice. It's like a linen finish, so everything's very aesthetically nice, but it just doesn't, the artwork isn't my sort of style. So I didn't have like such high expectations of this game. I thought I would enjoy it, but I didn't think I would enjoy it half as much. And playing it solo just out of the base game box is very fun. I really did enjoy it, but I did very much find myself playing the same game over and over. So I would find a particular thing that I really enjoyed doing. So for example, I do really like pushing up those citizen tracks. That was my thing. I enjoyed doing that and neglecting some of the other aspects of the game, like the more combat and the cohorts to like offset the attacks. I just ignored that aspect. And so I think if you're just buying the game just to sort of focus solely on how it comes in the box without exploring anywhere else, you may fall into that trap as well. So it may not necessarily be the route you want to go down, but I did find it particularly, it was very good, and I did enjoy it for many times. And if you're sort of willing to explore different strategies in the game, that may not be a problem for you. I don't see why though you would not want to explore the campaign mode. It's completely free. Again, I will stick the link down below so you can find it if you don't know where to find it, but just go onto there, and it's been released by the publishers of the game, so it's all been designed around that. And just playing through, I haven't even got halfway through yet, but just playing through all of those so far, it has given the game a new lease of life for me. So I don't find myself sort of falling into the same traps that I usually do. Each game is fresh and interesting, and I have to sit back and just sort of analyse how my workers and resources are best used each and every time to sort of try and get that balance right of pushing up tracks as quick as possible, but you also don't want to overstretch your resources to the point where you're producing so much that you can't use it. So for example, I had a rock at the end of the game which I didn't use. I had obviously pushed too hard on the resource production side, and not maybe built enough buildings that I should have. And so it's a really interesting balance of trying to quickly get as much built and done and completed as quick as possible, because you're bigger and stronger and you can defend more and you're getting more resources turned over and workers turn over. But you may not be able to use them all, and you may be able to build these buildings and do things like tick up certain tracks, but actually at the end of the game they're not going to give you anything. So you need to quite carefully carve out your pathway and see where each and every resource and meeple is best used to really maximize that effect. And I think that campaign does that really, really well. It helps you explore each and every aspect of the game. Like, we didn't see half of what this game has to offer in this playthrough today. The whole right hand side sheet, you've got so much. So we did all the citizen tracks, but then this whole right hand side we didn't really touch, and each one of those offers just slightly different something to do. So the market, for example, you're looking at various goods of certain values that come out on the cards. So you'll see down here, you've got like I don't know if you can see it properly. There you go. There's a good there of value 1. So what you're trying to do is collect different value goods as they come out, and the more different values you have, the more valuable everything's going to be. And I love that aspect. It's just something different to think about. It's another little tactic to sort of get your head around. The gladiators as well are really fun. I haven't played the gladiators for a little while, so I can't remember how they work. I think they can die. They can die. So you can sort of keep training them up to become stronger and stronger. They then battle. You draw a card and see how strong a gladiator is going to come out against. Here we go. You can see there's a gladiator here of strength 2, and so when you are choosing a gladiator to battle with, you see how strong they are, compare it to that value, and they may die, but you're going to get something for it, because at the end of the day, Romans loved bloodshed, so you're going to get something for it, but you want your gladiator to like battle on and on as much as possible. So there's quite a thematic roll and write, and I don't really know how they managed to achieve that so well in this game, but you know, mechanically nothing really feels like what you're doing. I mean, you are building a wall, but you're just ticking off a box. But there's so many aspects from that era that they've pulled into this game, and you know, you're doing something different for each one of those aspects, even if it's not, you know, mechanically representative of what you're doing in real life, but it just manages to feel really fun for each and every aspect, and makes the game feel really fresh each time you explore something new. Playing this one multiplayer as well is a lot of fun. It is very multiplayer solitaire. The only interaction that you're going to have is much like you saw me play a black meeple on a card. So you are able to sort of use their shapes and their goods that come out if you want to, but you do need to pay them, I think, do you pay them resources? I've only played it multiplayer once, but that is essentially the only interaction. So you may be able to use aspects of their cards, but essentially it's head down on your sheets and you're just trying to get as big a score as possible, and they are as well, and whoever gets the most points wins. So it's a great solo game, it's a great multiplayer game, but just know what you're getting into if it is for you multiplayer, because there's not too much interaction going on, and it may be a little bit dull for you if that's what you're into. I said in the playthrough, what I really do like about this game is when you're drawing your cards to decide which one you want to use as your like pathway card to score at the end of the game, the other one that you draw gives you resources or meeples to gain, and quite often they're in conflict with each other. So I'm looking at one aspect I want to score with, but I really, really want those resources that are on that card. So it's always a really good toss-up and difficult decision to make at the end of each round or beginning of each round to sort of decide which route you want to go down. And yeah, it just makes it very fresh. It is slightly strange in the scoring of it, where as I also said in the playthrough, it's sort of set criteria. So with your large buildings, you only score if you are scoring 2, 4 or 6 of those large buildings. So if you built 3 of them, it doesn't look like you actually score anything at all. And so that's that's just an extra layer to be aware of in this game, and it's just an extra layer of strategy that you need to build in. So I may have actually been able to score even more points at the end of the game by pushing up to that 3rd citizen track. But I didn't know if that would actually gain me more points, essentially, because then I wouldn't be scoring any of my completed citizen tracks. And so that's a really interesting I've not really seen that anywhere else. It's usually like you get 2 or more and you score this, or you get 3 or more and it's a threshold instead of a set number. And I do like that in some instances, because that is just something completely different and adds that extra layer of complexity and strategy. But it's sometimes frustrating and may limit you slightly in your scoring, but I think it's overall very positive. I like that extra thing to think about. I also like in this game that it doesn't necessarily punish you too heavily if you don't focus on the combat and the defense aspect. There are ways to offset that. So that some people may not like that combat aspect because it is essentially just drawing cards, and it is luck as to which direction those attacks are going into. So if you're like putting all of your defense down your left-hand side in the first round or two, where you don't actually have many defensive strategies in play, and then all of your cards come out on the right-hand side, it can feel a little bit mean. But essentially there are ways in the game to offset that disdain that you gain. And if you complete the bathhouses, you're able to bribe, which necessarily means you tick off your disdain twice a year. So you could essentially tick off up to 12 disdain in the whole game if you sort of work on that strategy. And so I really like that aspect as well. You could essentially go the whole game without focusing. Well, I would imagine you could go. I've never actually played a game where I've completely ignored that aspect of the game, but I would imagine you could ignore a good reasonable amount of defense and attack strategy and just go for offsetting that disdain if you go down that route. And I really like that. I think that gives the players that may not necessarily want to focus on those aspects a lot more choice. So overall, I think Hadrian's Wall is an absolutely brilliant solo game. Just buying it out of the base game box, but also if you add in the solo expansion, which is freely available on Board Game Geek. Absolutely brilliant game design. It looks overly complex and quite intimidating when you first get it out, but you can essentially just play your first few games exploring various aspects of the sheets and just seeing where that gets you, and you can just build up on that as and when you feel comfortable. And I think actually the campaign would actually sort of allow you to explore those in your own time and allow you to sort of build up the game to then experience it in its entirety at a later time. I think it's brilliant, and I love how quick the turn structure is as well. It's very satisfying when you're gaining extra workers, ticking extra boxes off, and just seeing all those combinations trigger in fast succession. It's such a great feeling, and it's a very overall positive feeling that you get from just ticking off all those tracks and seeing everything progress so quickly. Absolutely brilliant game, and I absolutely cannot wait to get further into the campaign and seeing how it all pans out as through all 16 forts to play through. It just feels so fresh and interesting every time, and I really look forward to getting it out on the table each and every time I play it. So that's it from me today. Thank you so much for watching my playthrough. I really hope you've enjoyed it. If you did enjoy the playthrough today, please consider subscribing to the channel, and you will be let know of any future releases that I do. Otherwise, have a lovely rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Bye!